Good morning and welcome to the Oakland County Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe alongside Ronnie Dahl in the studios of our flagship stations, 89.3 Lakes FM and Civic Center TV. Civic Center TV on Comcast Channel 15, AT&T Channel 99, and similarly in Birmingham, Bingham Farms, Beverly Hills, and the village of Franklin, we're on Birmingham Area Municipal Access, also on Comcast Channel 15 and AT&T Channel 99. In Bloomfield Hills on the radio, 88.1 WBFH, the Biff, a service of the Bloomfield Hills School District. And online, civiccentertv.com, on our Watch Live link, or on the small player on our homepage. And today on Facebook via Facebook Live with our good friends over at the Orchard Mall. A big thank you to Kelly Woodley, Doug Cohen, and their entire social team over there for joining us on today's edition of the Oakland County Megacast. And as always, joining me in the studio, here is Ronnie Dahl.
Tyler, Mother Nature turned on the wind machine.
It did. It really did. It's been it's been back to where it was a couple weeks back, where it was super windy for a few days.
It's a good day, if you can, to lay on the couch and binge Netflix.
Yes, it's definitely going to be one of those nights for a lot of people, and one of those days for anybody that's so lucky as to have this Friday off.
It's so hard. So my husband is still working from home. I don't know when they're going to allow them to start getting back into the studio. Some are allowed in and some aren't. I don't know how they pick and choose, but he's still working from home. And so like last night and then tonight, you have to be careful about the dog barking, the garage door opening, things like that. So if I stay home on a Friday night, I try to be quiet with the dog and then just watch TV downstairs and keep it low because he works upstairs.
Yeah, it's definitely got to be a balancing act for these news reporters and anchors that are from home, because of all the different things that can go wrong at home, whether it be technical or things in the background that you're not really able to take care of in quick succession like you're maybe able to do in the studio itself. So I think it'll be a welcome return to normality when these anchors and reporters can get back in the studio for their regular shows.
Yeah, so especially when you have a big dog, it's so hard to keep them quiet.
Yeah, it's not easy keeping bigger dogs quiet, and especially once they're energized, there's no stopping them until they get that energy out.
But it's cold. I think it's going to be a roller coaster over the next week. We'll get up to, I think, back in the 70s next week, but then plummet back down into the 40s. And then, it's just that time of the year, though. This is what we get. It's March in Michigan.
Yeah, March in Michigan, the weather's making its decision. Do I want to stay cold? Do I want to get warm? Do I want to ease into it? And it kind of goes all over the place as the season changes between colder weather going into warmer weather. And, of course, that's when we have a lot of that severe weather, too, because that's such a drastic change.
So we do know, though, I was walking the dog this morning, and my neighbor's flowers are popping up already. Oh. So it's good to see a little bit of color. As a reminder, hope is on the way, not just with the vaccine, but with Mother Nature as well. And it's just amazing to watch Mother Nature change over the next 2 to 3 weeks, how we'll go from everything being brown and that gray look to things starting to turn green and the flowers starting to pop up and the trees getting leaves. So just hang in there.
Yeah, seasons are changing, and hopefully the world is going to be changing back to something we used to know of it, with obviously some changes after what we've been through over the last year and some change. But things are changing, things are moving forward, and hopefully soon we'll be in the post-COVID spring.
Won't that be nice? Hey, and we should let people know COVID-19, the vaccine has been hard for some people to find, but some of the entities like the drugstores, Meijer, or even yesterday at Ford Field, they had additional doses.
Yeah.
So they will put out an alert or a tweet that says, hey, we have additional doses. If you're 16 or older, get down here before 6 o'clock and you'll get the shot. So for people that are still waiting to be able to get the vaccine, that is one way that you could possibly get one without an appointment. So just kind of keep that on your radar.
Yeah, that's been happening a little more frequently lately. I know definitely yesterday that happened down at Ford Field. They had a bunch of extra shots, and we're calling people down and saying, hey, get here by 6 o'clock, and you might get yourself a shot. They may want to be more specific, I think, going forward with that, so they don't have a huge rush of people if they have 30 extra additional vaccines to give out, they don't have several thousand people trying to get down there, several hundred people more likely trying to get down there for a small number of shots and then turning all those people away. But that being said, it's something that if it does happen, you want to keep up on social media and with your local news outlet and these providers, just in case they do have these vaccines come up, and you may get a chance to move ahead in line a little bit because they have extras.
Yeah, because what they don't want to see happen is these vaccines going bad, and
Right.
they have to throw them out. So, and I have heard where other entities like drugstores, at the end of the day, the pharmacies shift. If people didn't show up, then they will make an announcement over the loudspeaker to alert people that they have the vaccine and to come back and get a shot.
Yeah, one thing they don't want to do is slow down the process by having perfectly good vaccine go bad because they simply don't use it. So while they do have a process, and while there has been a process and a system throughout this entire vaccination era of how to get people vaccinated in an orderly fashion based on need and based on risk factors, they're still wanting to make sure that every single vaccine they produce, that the vast majority of them and very few of them are not being used, and the vast majority are getting shots in the arms.
So we should note that the vaccine that's being used right now at Ford Field, I believe, is the Pfizer and the Moderna. So it is the two-shot process that is taking place. However, more Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccines are expected to start arriving here in the state of Michigan next week, 3 weeks after the first shipments were delivered and sprinkled throughout local health department clinics and other providers, with officials saying some people sought out the one-dose vaccines because we are seeing an issue where a lot of people aren't going back for that second dose. So the state is ordering 58,000 Johnson & Johnson vaccines, which are expected to start arriving early next week. That's according to the spokesperson for the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. She didn't have specific information on sites, but said it's her understanding the doses are going to go to the local health departments and the hospitals. So Johnson & Johnson vaccines are slated also to be administered during the 7th and 8th weeks of that 8-week federally operated vaccination clinic inside Ford Field, which opened this week and plans to give about 5,000 shots per day. Of course, that is happening at the Ford Field stadium. And so weeks 7 and 8, because some people right now, they are trying to wait for the Johnson & Johnson for whatever reason. People have different various reasons as to if they want one shot over another, but right now you're not able to pick and choose.
Yeah, and as more of these shots come out, I think this will be something that, especially departments that have less capacity for staffing and for time purposes, to be able to vaccinate people, will probably likely aim for the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Part of the reason we've seen so much more Pfizer and Moderna is because these local health departments and other entities are simply just receiving more of it, because the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is still really in the infancy of its public release. So as more of those vaccines come out, that would be great news. A lot of people have been waiting for the Johnson & Johnson vaccine if they're waiting for a vaccine. And then on top of that, the one-dose vaccine is going to move that process forward so much quicker because you're not waiting to bring people back several weeks later for that second inoculation.
So, some Oakland County commissioners are calling on Lansing lawmakers to pass legislation that would allow for the continuation of remote meetings past March 31st. That's when those provisions are set to expire. So prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, public bodies were required under state's Open Meetings Act to gather in person. So the act was amended last spring to allow for the public bodies to meet remotely while moving public comment and attendance online. So the 21-member board of the Oakland County Commissioners, they say they are prepared to resume in-person meetings, but some commissioners are a little apprehensive right now because of the recent uptick in the number of new COVID-19 cases. So you can understand their concern. We are seeing a new surge right now here in the state of Michigan. We're one of a handful of states across the country seeing a huge increase in the number of cases right now.
Yeah, and one of the more jarring numbers from that particular article is the increase being 480%. To contextualize that, we spoke on this yesterday, that an increase by percentages can look gigantic when it's not really that significant. In this case, it is pretty significant, going from about 68 cases per day to 397 cases per day since February 21st here in Oakland County. So there is reason for concern with this. It's a little bit confusing too with the Open Meetings Act and these virtual meetings, because I've heard some conflicting information. Maybe it's different for counties and school boards than for local municipalities. But I've heard some conflicting information that that some bodies will continue to be able to do virtual meetings through the end of the year, through December 31st, if they have declared a local state of emergency, or if a state of emergency has been declared by their county, in which case in West Bloomfield, in Kegel Harbor, Orchard Lake, and Sylvan Lake, they're under current state of emergencies, and there is one that was declared by Oakland County, although that may be expiring. We'll have to look into that more. But I know that some bodies in our local area, in our 4 communities, are considering going back to in-person meetings. In fact, the West Bloomfield School Board was scheduled to have their meeting this month in March, on Monday this week, be in person. They quickly changed that back to a virtual meeting because they were expecting greater attendance to their virtual return, due to their return to learn plan finalization vote going into play on Monday night. But they do plan in April to have an in-person meeting in the auditorium at West Bloomfield High School.
So with that, how does that work with you guys, with all the meetings that you are hosting here on CivicCenterTV.com?
Well, there's going to be some changes regardless, because of the township's fiber optic system, which is a whole different technical situation that we don't need to go too deep into the weeds of. So our way of producing these in-person meetings is going to be different regardless. In this case, we still have a connection over at the high school that was established before the pandemic and remains in place due to the high school's relationship with local cable providers and some systems that are on site on West Bloomfield School District property. So that won't be too entirely complicated. Other meetings may become a little more complicated because they'll have to be streamed in our case, and it also doesn't take into effect that there may be further complications or at least hoops to jump through if there is going to be a mixed virtual and in-person element where people from the public could, or even members of boards, could participate virtually in a meeting while there's also an in-person meeting, because there's a lot of technical crossover between both sides of that broadcast.
But I see if they can try to make it work, not just here, but across the country, there have been benefits to having so many of these meetings virtually. And a lot of that has to do with there's a higher participation because people are able to continue about their day. You can make dinner while you have the meeting on in the background and listen in and become more informed. So I think there are some benefits to being able to host these virtually, but is there a way to do it in a hybrid situation? And of course, that's probably going to take a change in state law as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of negotiating and a lot of discussion that's going to be had on that particular topic as we come out of the pandemic and as we continue forward in the pandemic with these regulations and changes to the Open Meetings Act being in play. I know that for sure in your city of Kegel Harbor, they've already been having discussions about having some hybrid element to their meeting and allowing some sort of hybrid participation, both from the public and some commissioners in their meetings going forward. Nothing entirely finalized on that yet, at least not between them and us. But that's been something that's been a conversation there, and will definitely be a conversation in a lot of other places in our local area and probably throughout the country too.
So with that, right now, of course, it is March. A lot of sports happening, but high school sports could be at a tipping point right now as the number of COVID cases continues to surge here in the state. As coronavirus cases rates, along with the positivity rates and hospitalization rates, begin to surge once again here in Michigan, the high school sports landscape continues to be impacted by quarantines. The Michigan High School Athletic Association said this week that a combined 101 boys and girls basketball teams have withdrawn from the state tournament over a 9-day period that started March 15th. Also, there have been numerous reports of hockey, wrestling, and cheer teams withdrawing from their state tournaments as well. Now, of course, they're hoping to avoid another shutdown, so the MDHHS and the MHSAA are partnering for a widespread testing program that is going to be starting April the 2nd for all remaining basketball players and the spring sports athletes. So on Wednesday, the MHSAA released guidance from the Department of Health that requires schools to complete the antigen test of athletes one time per week. There is no requirement that the antigen test will be completed before specific practices or contests, meaning schools could potentially test athletes at any point during the school day to help get everyone scheduled, and the flexibility of that as well. A lot of confusion for these schools and the teams on how this new testing requirement is going to work.
Yeah, and it's going to be so much more rigorous than it was in the fall for that pilot testing program because of the surge and because most of these sports or all these sports are indoors at this moment in time. And in terms of the number of teams that have had to drop out of the tournaments in the spring, in these winter sports as opposed to fall, it's been significantly greater. I mean, I remember in the fall football season, I can only really think, at least in southeastern Michigan, of one football team. I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, it was Rochester Adams that had the bow out of the MHSAA D1 football playoffs due to a COVID-19 situation. And then in this week, West Bloomfield's girls and boys basketball teams both bowed out due to quarantines as well. So it's something that's been increased. One, it's because the people are indoors and they're around each other in close capacity in these contact sports in particular a lot more frequently than they would be in an outdoor sport in football or in soccer or something else where there is a little bit more distance and there is that constant airflow. And this testing program is hopefully going to help bring those numbers down a little bit, or at least get a better gauge on how severe the problem is in MHSAA sports and in high school sports here in the state of Michigan, especially as these athletes who have waited to get into the playoffs and play a full season are trying to finish their season. And of course, those spring athletes that lost their season last year altogether are preparing for their sports seasons as well.
It's a hard time for them. And, they can't get vaccinated right now. It's not open to 16 and older just yet. So the student athletes cannot be vaccinated. They are in that age group that we're seeing this incredible surge right now. And think about it when you're playing basketball. I mean, we even have it when you're talking with a mask on. Mm-hmm. It falls down. So they're trying to play these high intensity sports. And of course, the mask is going to fall down on a pretty regular basis. And when you watch them play, they're constantly trying to pull it back up. Right. So they are trying. I don't think any of these students are, being negligent and wearing the mask and trying to follow these protocols because they want to play sports. It's just the reality of where we are right now.
I mean, I think about when I'm doing any sort of workout in the gym with a mask on, it's the same problem. I mean, yesterday I was doing I did something that involved a lot of jumping and a lot of movement, and my mask was constantly falling down too. It's something you got to be focusing on while you're doing something else. And in the case of the athletes, they're focused on the game that they're in, not necessarily on their mask, although they're not ignoring it. When they do notice it, they will bring it up. But if you're in the middle of a play and your choice is between, for example, basketball, letting the player you're defending go right by you and get an easy layup, or adjusting while you adjust your mask, or finishing the play with your mask over your mouth but not entirely over your nose, these athletes are focused on the task at hand, defend the player they're against. And that could potentially have some issues with COVID, but it's a constraint of the rules that they're playing under.
So, of course, you can find that information and all the day's headlines. Just go to civiccentertv.com, click on coronavirus, and that's where we post the latest headlines each and every morning. And then, of course, at the top of the page, we have direct links to various entities that if you want to do some research yourself, the state of Michigan is a great one to check, as well as Oakland County. We have a great show ahead for you on the Friday edition of the Megacast. Who's all on the show today?
I've got a big packed lineup. We've got a few people coming up in our first group. We'll be speaking to the Ferndale Elks 1588 Lodge. I got 3 people from their organization joining us today. Later on the 10 o'clock hour, we'll be talking with Rabbi Kasriel Shemtov about the Passover holiday, second time we've been going through that holiday in the pandemic. At the 11 o'clock hour, we'll have Natalie Rubino from the Meyer Woodward Corner Market. Keith Aldridge from Canterbury Village, another great, fun family event coming up there. And then we'll finish the show off with the Detroit Theater Collective member and author, Chris Behrman, who's got a very interesting story about how about his experiences in the pandemic and how he turned those into stories.
And we'll have all of that just after the break.
Wearing a mask is more than protection. It's a bridge to better days. The path back to celebrations with family. Nights out on the town with friends. Game days with your favorite sports teams. And the thrill of live concerts. But until we can all get the COVID-19 vaccine and build community immunity, which will take time, we all need to continue to stay careful. Because Michigan's recovery is depending on you, and so are your family, friends, and neighbors. So even after you're vaccinated, wear a mask, avoid large gatherings, and social distance. One day in the near future, we will all be able to put this pandemic behind us. But until then, spread hope, not COVID. Learn more at michigan.gov/coronavirus. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Quitting smoking can improve your health, but it also protects your loved ones from secondhand smoke. Did you know there's no risk-free level of exposure to secondhand smoke? Smoke from cigarettes, e-cigs, and hookah can travel through ventilation systems and harm those around you. So clear the air and stop secondhand smoke. Call the Michigan Tobacco Quit Line at 1-800-784-8669. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Michigan, the coronavirus pandemic has put us all to the test. And now, it's time to put COVID-19 to the test. As we move forward, testing will be critical. We encourage anyone who has reason to get tested to do so, those with symptoms and those without. If you are leaving home and going back to work, get tested. If you think you may have COVID-19 or you've been exposed recently through family, friends, or coworkers, get tested. Our test locator tool can help you find the right testing site that fits your needs. Even if you're looking for easy access with no cost, no prescription, and no appointment necessary, we've got you covered. Help Michigan move forward, not backward. To find a testing site or learn more, visit michigan.gov/coronavirus test. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Thank you for taking time out of your Friday to be with us here on the Megacast. The weather is crappy outside. It's windy, it's gray, it's drizzly, which means it's a great day to stay indoors and tune into the Megacast. We're excited to bring in our next guest. It's the first time we're having them on the show. I've been a member of the Ferndale Elks for quite some time. And so we thought we'd have them on today to talk a little bit more about the Elks and all of the good things that we do. So we have with us today Josh Gartner. He is the chair of the Elks PR for Detroit. Randy Stewart. He is esteemed loyal Knight Ferndale Elks 1588. And Oscar Renault, chair of the Ferndale Elks. And with that, who wants to start? Let's start with giving us a little bit of background about the Elks and what you do. I think a lot of people don't understand all the great charity work that you guys do.
Absolutely. Well, we're a national organization that is broken down into local lodges, right? So once you become a member of your local lodge, you are actually an Elks member. You're allowed to go to any Elks club in the country. We have thousands of locations across all 50 states. But what we do is we focus on charities, both national and local. And we deal mostly with either youth groups, helping local youth, or veterans groups, running organizations for veterans.
So one of the great things also about the Ferndale Elks is your location, of course. You're right on Woodward Avenue, which puts you in a great spot to be able to view some of the big events going on, such as the Woodward Dream Cruise, but you guys also help start the cruise, right?
Absolutely. Yep. If you go back to history, 20 plus years, some of our members actually were instrumental to start the cruise. That's correct.
So tell us more about the location other than you have great parking.
Yep. Well, we are located on Woodward, right downtown Ferndale, just north of 9 Mile, and on the east of Woodward. And as you mentioned, it's a great location. We're right in the middle of downtown. We're very central to Detroit area in general. We can be our lodge pretty much anywhere within 20-25 minutes.
And so with that too, can you guys talk a little bit more about some of the events and the charities that you've been taking part in? Because you've also had to close your doors quite often throughout the pandemic over the past year.
Well, absolutely. Well, our lodge historically started in 1931 on March 28th. So we are going to celebrate our 90th anniversary this coming Sunday. Over the years, our lodge contributed over $5 million towards charity for our immediate area. We also sponsoring scholarships. We do our Christmas baskets. So we come together, and right before Christmas time, we put together around 100 food baskets for the local families in need. We visit our veterans, Hamilton House in Detroit, also locally. We take kids out to Tigers games and things like that. But as you mentioned, last year was a little bit challenging, COVID restrictions. So one of our members had a great idea to suit up in inflatable suits, and we were just walking through the neighborhood and cheering people on. So we were probably close to 20-25 members in that club. So that was a very good and positive feedback from the community, because they were looking forward to see us.
So I know that you guys made the news with that as well. It was so hilarious, Tyler, to see them walking around, like we've seen the video of the big T-Rex, like shoveling snow. Well, they had them like all the different animals. And I think the one time I saw you guys, you were raising money for, I don't know, maybe Alzheimer's or another one of the charities, and everyone had their suits on. And they're very colorful, and you definitely stand out in a crowd, but they could be hard to walk in.
Yeah,
And very hot.
and very warm, yeah.
So, Randy, can you tell us a little bit too? How's membership going right now?
Well, right now we're doing very well in regards to membership. One of the few Elks that actually have increased their membership over this pandemic time. So we're really excited about that. We have a wonderful group of people. We're very inclusive here at the Ferndale Elks, and it's just a great time.
You never know who you're going to meet when you go to the Ferndale Elks. You could be talking to a judge, you could be talking to an electrician, a person from the postal department, an airline worker. You have one of the most diverse groups I have ever seen. But you guys also have a really cool story. Randy, you want to tell us about your location, because you were a bank at one point in time.
Oh yeah, a long time ago, we were a bank, and we still have the vault that the original bank had, and now it's become a giant cooler for all our necessities here at the Elks Club. And we've had to remodel a little bit on the inside. We've changed the floors and things like that to try to get back to some of that beauty that the bank had when it originally was here. There's tons of pictures out there you can see how what it used to look like when it was a bank, prior to our changing it. And we're just very proud of what it looks like here.
So, Josh, how is it going with the capacity limits and the time constraints right now as well?
Well, we're following all of the state mandates, which is 50% capacity. We do have an outdoor tents that we've set up in the spring. So we're trying to accommodate as many people as we can, but we're still staying within those limits that Governor Whitmer has put out.
So what are some of the upcoming events that you guys have going on? I know that typically the springtime you're really busy. Have you had to curb back some of your volunteer opportunities?
We are looking forward to this year. As you mentioned, the COVID restrictions are still strong there, and for a reason. However, we anything outdoors would be great. We do Easter egg hunts with the community. We typically participate in the Memorial Parade, which is one of the oldest one in the state, that goes right through Ferndale, and so many others. We probably, if there was going to be a Dream Cruise, we definitely would participate in that. We have a Ferndale Pride for LGBTQ community, and we also take part in that as well. That's going to be this coming October. And typically we have one public visitation per month. With COVID, it's currently suspended, but anyone can come in and see our lodge. Like once a month we have a public event, and they can see the lodge and the room and the grounds and talk to other members. But we welcome anyone to visit our website and call us. Our website is www.elks1588.com, and you can learn how to become a member. You can schedule a visitation. You can come and check us out. You can see the bar room, the banquet room upstairs, and we will tell you all about us in more detail, and we'll be more than happy to see you.
So right now it looks like Michigan is back in the middle of another surge. How much does that concern all of you, and how because if we have to go back to shutdown, that could impact all of the plans and all of the progress that you're making?
Absolutely, but safety of our members is the first priority. It always was and will always remain. So we focus on recovery as a nation together, and obviously focuses on health and safety.
So
wait, and we can celebrate once again once it's safe.
So many places have had to get creative throughout the pandemic by doing virtual events. Did you guys do any of that? How did it work for you?
Yes, actually, our member Kate Reynolds had a great idea to do virtual happy hour. So we are known for getting together after work at 5-6 o'clock and having some cocktails. So she established a Zoom room for all the members, and everyone attended and shared some news. How are they doing during the COVID? And maybe some cocktails were involved there too, but that was a lot of fun.
We're talking with Josh Gardner, Randy Stewart, and Oscar Renault. They're with the Ferndale Elks 1588. You guys have other locations as well. So I know that for us, we're located here in West Bloomfield. We do have one, I think it's closer, Pontiac Waterford. How can people become a member of the Elks? And if I'm a member at the Pontiac one, can I come visit you in Ferndale?
Absolutely. Like I said, once you join a lodge, you're welcome at any lodge in the country. So if you're a member of Pontiac Waterford, you can easily come down and do something with us here in Ferndale if we're doing a euchre night or a bar bango or anything like that. But really, we have lodges. If you just look at our district, we have lodges in Royal Oak, Farmington Hills, Ferndale, obviously, Clawson, Troy. You mentioned Pontiac Waterford. That's just our district. That doesn't include the lodges in Livonia or Allen Park or Dearborn or Warren Sterling Heights or Mount Clemens. If you live in Metro Detroit, you live next to an Elk lodge.
What has been the biggest misconception the public has about the Elks clubs?
Well, this is a great question. The misconception was that this is the good old boys club, right? And different sexes are not allowed. So it's actually not true. If you're a woman, you're more than welcome to join. We have people of color, alternative, LGBTQ people are welcome. So we are all inclusive. So we are trying to represent our community to the full extent. And as you mentioned, we are very diverse. You can meet all walks of life in our club.
So Randy, if I can ask you, what's the biggest thing you get out of being a member there?
I think obviously the camaraderie with just different people is probably one of the biggest things that I get out. I've met so many wonderful people. The people that now I travel with, people I network with. I need to know where to get my car fixed. Everyone's got an opinion. It's just great. Myself, I am the state scholarship chair, and that's something, especially being a teacher, that it was important for me to get involved with. And our scholarship, we have something on the national level, or local level as well. And for me, just giving back to high school seniors and trying to advance their college careers and things like that has been very, very important for me. And I've just gotten a great just heart swell being a part of that. Meeting these guys. One thing I wanted to add to about what Oscar was saying, right now we're kind of going to transition from old officers to new officers, and we have a female officer who will be running the show. We're so proud of her. She's been involved in so many different activities here, and now that she's going to be running the show, it's like, yeah, this is not the old boys club, like you said. This is like we want the change, and we want to, go forward with the way the Elks is perceived. So thank you for asking that question.
So it really is a community and a family. You guys are so creative in some of the fundraising efforts that you have done. I know that sometimes you guys do the drag queen bingo. That is always a very popular one. How do you come up with some of these new fundraising efforts? And how does that look in the next 6 months with COVID still with us?
Well, on an annual basis, we approximately raise about $70,000, and we donate these funds to the community. Our house committee is very, very creative when it comes to the fundraising ideas, but any member really can come up with a wonderful idea. If we're not collecting money for something right now, we can always create something new. So if someone is very passionate about Alzheimer's, fundraising, or cancer, or drug awareness, we're always open to new ideas.
Yeah, and just to add, it's the members of the Elks that come up with these ideas. If you think of the T-Rex Walking Club, that was just a random member that came up with that idea, and we were able to raise a lot of money during the coronavirus quarantine. So it's just the creativity of the members that really bring this together. And we're not really interested in letting the pandemic keep us down. I think whether we're meeting here or we're meeting on Zoom, we plan on still having all these ideas and eventually putting them into place. We can't put them in right away. I just know this summer, we had 2 members that said, we want to do a Christmas in July fundraiser to help the scholarship for our local Area Will Scholarship. I said, and they just came up with that. It's something that they just want to do. So we are really reliant on our members here.
How do you come up with who you're going to support, or organizations and individuals?
I'll take that one. I think it's not necessarily a specific group. It's just based on the members, and they bring it to our meetings, and they just say, hey, this is what I'm interested in, and we just go, sounds good. There's no particular particular organization or side of an argument or anything like that we always go toward. It's just what feels right. I think that's basically where we fall.
I'll add to that a little bit too. So let's say, for example, our veterans committee. Someone had a wonderful idea to start supporting Hamilton Club in Detroit, nursing home in Detroit, and they established the committee, and there were members of that committee that were coming up with ideas. They do a lot of fundraising around Christmas time, so we can deliver gifts to them. As mentioned, we can take them to a baseball game when it's available again. But anyone is welcome to join and bring your own causes forward, and we will support you.
You guys have really supported a lot of great causes, and every time you walk into the Elks, they are doing some type of fundraising event to support someone. What's been the most meaning for you of the ones you participated over, let's say, the last couple years? Randy, you want to take that one?
You said the one that's the most meaningful?
Yes, to you personally.
Personally? I think when I first got involved, probably, because most people think, scholarship, but I've already talked about that. The Christmas boxes that Oscar talked about is probably the thing that really got me hooked. Because I became initiated not too long before Thanksgiving and Christmas time. And they say, you should just come in and help out. And I came, and it's just a group of people, and we're just basically putting food in boxes and then delivering them to local Ferndale residents. And I was like, I'm hooked. about this. But I also have to say, we not only give to a big groups of people, but we also help people just personally. There was a family who weren't Elks members, but they were friends with Elks, and you probably remember this, where a young man was in the on the freeway, and he was stopped to help someone, and he ended up getting hit. He lost his leg, and he ended up his track career. He was going to go to college, and his track career was over and things like that. But he still wanted to go. I think it was Vassar College or something like that. He still wanted to go there, and so the Elks well, we're going to make sure you go there. We're going to make sure that you get to, and so something like that. We raised all this money over a period of time, and presented him in his college with this money to help this young man get to that dream. And he wasn't an Elks member, his family wasn't an Elks member, but they knew what an Elks member, and an Elks member brought it to us, and we said, absolutely. That's the kind of stuff that I love about the Elks. We've had a woman, a bartender, the friend of the Elks, and she's an Elks member, but she got cancer, very little health care. We're like, we need to make sure that she's taken care of. One of our own bartenders, he needed a hip surgery. We need to make sure, because we love him, we need to make sure that he's taken care of. So helping out in a big general way is great, but also helping those individual people. That, I think, is what really makes the Elks so meaningful for me.
Randy Stewart, Oscar Renault, and Josh Gardner with us here on the Megacast. They are members of the Ferndale Elks 1588. Anything maybe we didn't touch on that you guys want to say before we say goodbye for the day?
I would just add that obviously most lodges double as bars, restaurants, and so it's a great time to come in. You can meet new friends. Socializing here is great. On top of the bigger goal, which is helping our communities.
Yeah, you really are a family, aren't you?
Yeah. If you're a transplant, or if your family is far away, not during COVID, but most of the time when it's safe, we celebrate all the holidays together. We watch all the sport games together. So come and celebrate Thanksgiving with us. We will have a big spread. When it's safe again. Right before Christmas or Easter. So we do a lot of things as a family together.
Well, we appreciate all three of you being with us today.
Thank you very much
for having us.
And good luck. We know that you have a lot of things going on coming up as the summer. Let's hope the COVID cases stay down, more people get vaccinated, and we can all get back to enjoying one another's company as we used to do pre-pandemic.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
The Ferndale Elks 1588, they do have a great location there just on Woodward. Parking is limited, but one of the great things is that I joined, I was selfish, and that you can park, and it's easy to park right there.
Very nice, yeah.
But you want to talk about a great group of people. They get so involved, and they're very passionate about helping the community. And every time you go to the Elks there is some type of fundraising effort going on as they're trying to support as many people as they can.
Yeah, it's always good to see organizations in our communities that are helping other people during the best of times and during the worst of times as well, when the need is even greater.
We're going to take a quick break here on the Megacast.
Hi, my name is Kurt Lawson, and I'm the Public Information Officer for West Bloomfield Township. We wanted to reach out to you, our older adults, to provide information that you may find useful during this difficult time. We want to ensure you that West Bloomfield Town Hall, our Waters and Utility Department, West Bloomfield Parks, and our police and fire departments continue to work hard on your behalf. Information and resources can be found on the Township website, the police Facebook and Twitter, or call West Bloomfield Park's COVID-19 Help Hotline. Please remember to keep your social distance of at least 6 feet, wear facial coverings when you leave your home, and wash your hands for at least 20 seconds with soap. These precautions will help keep you safe during these difficult times.
Over a decade ago, the journey to a COVID vaccine began. Building upon research on other coronaviruses, scientists continued with months of research and development, 3 phases of clinical trials with tens of thousands of diverse volunteers, then peer review and authorization to deliver a safe and effective vaccine that will protect all of us. Discover the facts for yourself at michigan.gov/COVID vaccine.
Hi, I'm Dr. Faust, the Medical Director for the Oakland County Health Division. The most important thing you can do to prevent the spread of illness is to wash your hands thoroughly and often. Follow these 6 easy steps every time you wash your hands. Step 1, turn on the sink and wet your hands with warm water. Step 2, apply soap to your hands and lather between your fingers, under your nails, and the front and back of your hands and wrists. Step 3, wash your hands by scrubbing them together for at least 20 seconds. Step 4, rinse your hands with warm, clean water. And step 5, dry your hands with a clean cloth towel, a paper towel, or hot air blow dryer. If you're using a cloth towel, make sure to change it often. For handheld faucets, turn off the water using a paper towel instead of your bare hand. Step 6, if you're using a paper towel, throw it away. Practice healthy habits like washing your hands after coughing or sneezing into them to keep you and others healthy. Go to oakgov.com/health or call Nurse on Call at 1-800-848-5533 to learn more.
Well, welcome back to the Megacast. I'm Ronnie Dahl here in the studios alongside Mr. Tyler Keith. It has been a long year, but yet, in some ways, it has also flown by.
Yeah, it has. It's been a very long year. We've been going through a lot, and here we are once again at the end of March, where it seemed last year it took us forever to get there as the pandemic began. It's now flown by, and we're back again.
So I can't believe Passover actually begins tomorrow. Of course, last year we were just at the beginning stages of the COVID-19 crisis. At the beginning of Passover. And to talk a little bit more, let's bring in our good friend, Rabbi Kasriel Shemtov, Vice President of the Chabad Lubavitch of Michigan. So great to have you with us.
So great to be here. Thank you.
Rabbi, what's Passover going to look like this year? Will more and more families be able to meet in person, do you think?
Well, definitely more than last year, and I think it's a good beginning. And it's wonderful that families can sit together for Saturday night and Sunday night for the festive Passover Seder.
And so, Passover, the Festival of Freedom, so many people this year feel like they have found a new sense of freedom because they've been able to get vaccinated. They've been able to join. What are you hearing from those in your community about getting together? Are some people still nervous, though?
Yes. In fact, there are a number of people that did not yet have the opportunity to get vaccinated. And even those that are vaccinated are being very cautious. But I think it does help for families, grandparents with grandchildren. That's what's so special, to be together for the Seder. Let me share with you for a moment about how important that is for a Seder. When you're sitting down to a Passover Seder, that is the time when the children are primary. The children are the stars of the Seder. They're the ones that ask the 4 questions. We have different types of children, and the entire tradition is to be able to focus to each child individually. And it's done with their grandparents at the table. And let me share with you something fascinating that I like to focus on when it comes to Passover. I guess the normal gap in generations is like 30 years. So when you have child, parent, and grandparent, you have 60 years of history at that Seder table. The history of how the Jews went out of Egypt from slavery to freedom and how we could all learn from that. But when you want to go a little further, the grandparent that's telling the stories at the Seder table, they're telling stories when they were a child, hearing stories from their grandparents. So now you have 120 years of history at that Seder table. You want to take that a step further, the child listening to that story is going to share it, God willing, with their grandchildren. So that's 210 years reflected at our Seder table Saturday night. Take 15 of those Seder tables and you're back 3,300 years ago to the Exodus of Egypt. So the idea of the Seder is very much anchored in Jewish history and so much that we learn from our history. and from the traditions of Passover. So I think this year is something very special that now grandparents and grandchildren can sit together in many occasions, and everyone else will be waiting for next time. So this is a wonderful opportunity.
And do you have family members that maybe this is going to be the first time they've seen each other in person for a year?
In fact, yes, absolutely. I know I've already been hearing for some of them that went out and took a flight for the first time in the year, and they're, very excited. Some of them, they're traveling by car, but they are coming together for the first time and allowing themselves to be together.
I know that I've been seeing, videos that are posted now on social media of grandparents and their grandkids hugging for the first time in a year. And I get teary-eyed watching these videos. So I could imagine it's going to be in a very emotional time for some of the families this Passover.
Absolutely. And, for the child waiting for that moment to be able to sit with their parents and their grandparents, having this tradition. And it's also part of the tradition for the grandparents to share that history and share those stories, answer the 4 questions. And therefore, it's almost, it allows the Seder to be complete.
Rabbi Kasriel Shemtov with us here on the Megacast. When we talk about the various generations sitting at a table together, I'm thinking about the technology and how much technology has changed just over the past 10, 15, 20 years. How has technology played a role, and what can the younger kids teach their grandparents as well?
Well, I think technology has helped us, first of all, spread the message and learn about it. And, there are many people that are alone this Passover as well. And for example, in our case, we have set up on our website where people can have, a demonstration of how to run their own Seder. You see, for many years, you have sort of those people that led the Seder, and then you have many that used to join the Seder. And for the first time, it's like, oh, I have to run a Seder? How do I do that? I've been always watching someone else. So now—
That's a lot of pressure.
You could say so. And actually, in our organization, in the Chabad Lubavitch movement, that's what we've been doing now for the last year we started, and we did it again this year, to reach out to everyone and say, you can do it. You can become the leader. And it's not that difficult. Get online, watch a video presentation. There's all these different how-tos that were developed this year especially. And there's beautiful materials that came out that we never had before. And I think that all is part of our learning experience, to be able to celebrate Passover, each one becoming the leader.
How long do you think it's going to be before people can join together in person in large groups and celebrate together again?
Well, my expertise is not predictions, but look, the way things are going, I think we're learning quickly, we're adapting quickly, and God willing, we should have the blessings to be able to have good health for everyone and be able to do the right thing. One of the interesting things that we have done is, what's Passover? Passover is going out from slavery to freedom, and what we're taught. We have a great teacher, the Lubavitcher Rebbe of blessed memory, who was our spiritual leader, and whose birthday was just in the last few days that we marked it. There was a governor's proclamation in Michigan recognizing his birthday, and he has taught us that the focus of Passover is that we all have limitations and boundaries in our lives, challenges. That's Egypt. That was the slavery. That was the boundaries. What is Passover? Passover is to go free from those boundaries, to go free from those limitations. And I think COVID really teaches us that. Here we are, we sort of feel locked up in our homes. We feel like we're limited. We have all these challenges. And Passover says, you have the ability to go free. You have the ability to do so many things that even bigger and better than you could have before, whether it's through technology, through Zoom, or getting out there and celebrating. Passover is a time to look into ourselves and see the power that we have to impact those around us and ourselves even with all those limitations. And that's going free. That's Passover. So in our organization, for example, when we started coming to Passover, we started thinking, okay, we must get together. We must celebrate. We must somehow connect with our holiday. How do we do that? So maybe you heard about this. We have this wonderful program in Detroit, which we created a theatrical experience, a drive-through theatrical experience. We had it at the town center in Southfield. A car park was transformed into an experience where you drive through different stages. We had actors, multimedia, all types of effects and props, and you went through the story of Passover. And we had thousands of people that drove through in their cars, in their safety. They were able to hear the narrative through the radio in their car, watch the experience. And by the way, this was grandparents with grandchildren, all ages, and that allowed us to experience Passover. So we thought out of the box, something new, something different, something creative. And we decided we're not going to be limited. We're not going to be held back. We're going to celebrate Passover, and we're going to get into that mode of Passover. So I want to suggest that coming Passover, when we're all sitting at our table, if you're sitting alone and celebrating, or with your family and your grandchildren, either way, recognize you have the ability to go free. You have the ability to do so many things, and don't get held back by your limitations of COVID or anything else.
Rabbi, we are blessed to, if we have to go through a pandemic, to go through it at this time when technology is available to us. Do you think some of the things that you have discovered and come up with during the pandemic using technology, you'll continue to use once we come on the other side of this?
Absolutely, no question about it. I'll give you an example. When we came to the holiday of Hanukkah, so we always did a big event downtown in Campus Martius. We would do the city lighting in Campus Martius. And this year they told the governor, we had you only have to have 25 people together. How do we do this program? So of course we did it, with, online virtually. And we had 12,000 computers hooked in. The estimate was about 30,000 people that participated. Now, every year we only had, a few thousand, 4,000 people. So it actually expanded. So next year when it comes Hanukkah, there's no question about it. We'll do a live audience, and we'll do an audience through virtual. That's one of the lessons that we have. God gives us all different situations. If you see you have a challenge, you need to become stronger from that challenge. So if you learned how to do something new, you utilize that for good, for the future. So there's so many good things that came out of this. That's what we're going to build on. That's what we all have to do in our personal lives, is not to look at it as a year where we were held back, but look at it as a year where we learned new things and implemented into the future. And that's true, by the way, for business. That's true for personal life. And it's true in our religious experience.
And when you were coming up with some of these new ways, how important was it to include the younger generation and their tech-savvy skills with the older generation and bringing those two together?
Well, look, this theatrical experience that we made couldn't have happened. This was multimedia, the latest technology that was used, and it was done very quickly, okay? This younger rabbi than me that developed this actually in Hollywood, California, I couldn't do it, okay? We needed someone in the young generation. And then when we have to get out on multimedia to get the word out and do whatever, you turn to the younger generation, right? Setting up my Zoom right now with you was my 10-year-old helping out and telling us what to do and what not to do. Okay, so yes, we will turn to the young generation, and we will utilize all their experiences.
Well, it really is one way that we can all come together and learn from one another and continue to learn from one another as well. Rabbi, it's always great having you with us.
Exactly. Can I just share one moment? I would like to just share with everyone, Passover is still coming until this evening, till the Sabbath. If anyone needs the handmade matzah that you have at your Passover Seder, this is very important for the Seder. We have also to set up your Seder table, whatever you need for your experience. You could still reach out to us at the shul, and we will try to, help out and make sure you have what you need for your Seder. If you have any questions what to do, reach out. You can reach out to rabbi@theshul.net, THESHUL.net, and we will try to help you out with the matzah and everything that you need.
Oh, that's great. Thank you for sharing that. And also, where can people see the video of the drive-through event? I know it's out there somewhere.
Actually, there was newscasts. There was, you have some of the reporting on it, and they showed some of it, I know, on Channel 7, on some other channels. I don't have right now a video where I could direct you to. I'll get that link and send it over to you.
If they Google it, they can find it. It really was a very creative way to celebrate Passover. So thank you guys for coming up with that. And thank you again for your time. It's always great having you.
Absolutely. I want to wish all your listeners a happy and kosher Passover. And we're here to help in any way we can.
Thank you, and the same to yourself, Rabbi, and your family as well, and your 10-year-old son. I can see his reflection in the mirror there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you again for your time. We're going to take a quick break here on the Megacast. As a reminder, you're listening to 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake, 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills. When we come back, we'll be joined with the store manager for the new Meyer Woodward Corner Market. This is the Oakland County Megacast.
Quitting smoking can improve your health, but it also protects your loved ones from secondhand smoke. Did you know there's no risk-free level of exposure to secondhand smoke? Smoke from cigarettes, e-cigs, and hookah can travel through ventilation systems and harm those around you. So clear the air and stop secondhand smoke. Call the Michigan Tobacco Quit Line at 1-800-784-8669. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Michigan, the coronavirus pandemic has put us all to the test. And now it's time to put COVID-19 to the test. As we move forward, testing will be critical. We encourage anyone who has reason to get tested to do so, those with symptoms and those without. If you are leaving home and going back to work, get tested. If you think you may have COVID-19 or you've been exposed recently through family, friends, or coworkers, get tested. Our test locator tool can help you find the right testing site that fits your needs. Even if you're looking for easy access with no cost, no prescription, and no appointment necessary, we've got you covered. Help Michigan move forward, not backward. To find a testing site or learn more, visit michigan.gov/coronavirus test. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Great to have you with us here on the Megacast. We want to say thank you to the Orchard Mall today for allowing us to live stream today's edition of the show on their Facebook page. And as a reminder, you can always catch us on Civic Center TV, Birmingham Area Municipal Access. If you have cable, thank you. A portion of your fee helps support programming such as this. You'll find us on Channel 15 on Comcast, 99 on AT&T. You can also listen to us on the radio if you're out driving around, 89.3 Lakes FM, 88.1 FM The Biff. We are trying to encourage as many people to shop local throughout the pandemic to help support our small businesses. And there is a new grocery store that has opened up in the middle of the pandemic, and they are doing such a great job of trying to stock some of their shelves with the products from some of our entrepreneurs right here in Michigan. Let's go ahead and bring in Natalie Rubino. She's the store manager for the Meyer Woodward Corner Market. It is a cool store. It is like no other grocery store. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you, and thank you for the compliment.
Natalie, it must make you feel good every day to walk into the store. I love going to the grocery store. You know, it's just an experience right now, and for so many of us during the pandemic, it's been kind of our escape.
It really has, and you know, we had the opportunity over this year and last year to really create a calm and loyal shopping experience for our customers, and it's been just an awesome experience so far, and we're going to continue to do so in 2021.
So for those that aren't familiar with the store, if they haven't had the opportunity to go in and shop the store, what makes it so different?
Yeah, so, when we opened the doors in January 29th of 2020, our focus was three very important pillars. It was local, how can we support local and the community? Value, how can we shout great prices? And then last, fresh. And we have a lot of great items that support our fresh and our quality here.
And so with that, it's pretty large though. For
Yeah.
a neighborhood grocery store, it's a pretty big store.
Yeah, it's 41,000 square feet. And, when you walk through the entire store, we have everything from dry grocery to frozen dairy, and then a really great assortment in deli, bakery, meat and seafood, and then produce, which is very dominant here in our store. We've got an awesome organic and conventional assortment for our produce department.
So as you mentioned, one of the pillars is to support local. How do you find those new products and decide which ones you are going to stock on your shelves?
Yeah, this is probably the most exciting part of my job prior to opening. And then we continue to add on our assortment. But, when we decided to open the store, we thought, let's go after our local partners right here in Oakland County, and then also Detroit and Michigan and beyond, and the Upper Peninsula. And so we look at areas like Royal Oak and specific local vendors that really want to promote their business and support us. So it's just a great business partnership that we've been able to contribute to. And the customers just love it. And like I said, the best part about it is our assortment doesn't end. We are adding on more and more each day and every week.
Natalie Rubino with us here on the Megacast. She's the store manager for the Meyer Woodward Corner Market. We are in the middle of the pandemic. How do you go about trying to test some of these new products and also, discovering them as well? Because we're all virtual right now. I love chocolate. I don't want Zoom chocolate. I want the real chocolate.
Well, actually, here's a really good example. We have a great chocolate product. It's in Birmingham. It's called Birmingham chocolate. Okay, right? And this partner of ours that has a retail store decided to branch out. And we discovered them through just visiting their shop and having a great conversation and how they could grow and how we could partner with them. And we've had them in our store since grand opening. And it has just been awesome. It's in our floral department. So great holidays like Valentine's or Mother's Day or Easter that's coming up. We have this awesome assortment of Birmingham chocolate.
So you did open up in the middle of the pandemic. How has that changed how you operate on a daily basis?
We really took it and looked at it as a unique opportunity for us. The most important part of our store is our passion for community. And during this unique time, and then specifically last year, we thought this is our time to really create relationships in the community and let them know that we're there for them. And one example that we really thought was amazing for us that we had the opportunity was supporting the Royal Oak Beaumont Hospital right here in our parking lot. And what we did last year from April to May was we decided to donate free coffee, food, and snacks with a Meyer food truck right in the Beaumont parking lot. And we did that for an entire month. It was just so awesome every day to visit the hospital and see these essential workers line up and know that we were there for them. And we came back every day from that food truck just with pride that, we were able to partner with them.
Oh, it's a great thing, and I'm sure that they appreciated it as well. And it's been a very long year for so many people. And do you feel that, or have you been able to talk with some of the customers? Do they feel more comfortable coming into your store? Because number one, you are new, but also it is kind of more that neighborhood grocery store feeling atmosphere.
Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt. I mean, the customer feedback we get, even when last year when things were pretty hectic here, the comments we got were, it was a fast checkout and it was a calm shopping experience. And we would receive those comments on a daily basis. And we just thought, hey, this is our opportunity to continue to make this grow. And even though we're a new store, this is our opportunity to build that loyalty, and we did, and we still see the same customers we saw a year ago today, and it's just been amazing.
So Natalie, what do you think the next year looks like? Are you hoping to be able to expand some of your programs and projects?
Yeah, like I said earlier, our assortment doesn't stop today, and our partnership with the local community and our vendors is just so important to us. And so we have plans to continue to look at every department we have in our store and, have our team continue to be empowered to make decisions on our assortment and what we can do to have this awesome variety that we already have and make it better every day.
So when that new corner was built, it seemed like it was going to be like, a town center hub where people could come and they could gather. And there is a large variety of shops and restaurants that have gone in there, but some have already closed as well because these are tough times for so many businesses. Do you think that area will flourish once the pandemic is over?
Yeah, actually, right now I actually see it getting better in some of the areas. And the restaurants, obviously, that we have here are growing, and they have done so many great things with the hospital, the connection that they have with the hospital. And then now they're doing the outdoor seating and the tents. And I just think that everybody's coming up with truly innovative ways to, make this work as a team.
Natalie Rubino with us here on the Megacast. She's the store manager for the Meyer Woodward Corner Market at 13 Mile and Woodward. In the beginning of the pandemic, so many of the grocery stores had dedicated hours for senior citizens and those that are immune compromised. Do you guys offer that service as well?
Yes, we have done the same thing. The first hours of our operation was open to essential workers and the elderly community. We were able to do that as well. Yes.
What's it been like to be so close to Beaumont?
Wow. It's you drive into work every day and you just think, you can't help but get a little bit emotional. How are they doing? Are they, how are the patients doing? Are they improving? And, you see the high traffic kind of dwindle down, and that's been great to see. And just to know that we're right there. I think the highlight for me is to see the uniforms of the Beaumont team come in here and grab a cup of coffee at our Great Lakes coffee shop and grab some of our great local convenience items that we have here, a salad or a yogurt or whatnot, and know that they can just walk here and grab a lunch and then go back to work. And it's been nice to do that. And also just the simple smile that we've been able to offer to them.
I know. Are you guys drawing smiles on your mask? I'm always like, no, really, I'm smiling under here. I am.
Yes. We do say that every day.
I've seen someone had one of those masks, and it was electronic. It was like an electronic billboard, and he could put messages on it.
We're becoming more creative with our masks every day. I've been noticing that.
So this was kind of, it seemed like it was a little bit of a test project for Meyer. Has it been successful? Do you think we're going to start to see more of these?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we've been able to really provide great results in 2020 after our opening. And Grand Rapids opened the very first market in downtown Grand Rapids, Bridge Street Market. That was in August of 2018. And then right after me in September of 2020, Lansing opened Capital City Market. And then soon enough, we'll see another one open up in Detroit and Rivertown in the fall of 2021. And so there's growth because, this is an opportunity for us to provide this fast convenience and fresh shopping experience for our customers that they really seem to love.
And what's so great is that you're supporting so many local companies with that as well. And I will say, I have a perfect spot for you guys. The Orchard Lake in Middle Belt at the old bowling alley. It has been the biggest frustration that we don't have grocery stores near us in Sylvan and Kego. I mean, we have the butchery, but that doesn't really count. So
yeah, I mean, it's nice to have something right around the corner for you just to grab some items, right? I mean, so yeah, I mean, we're definitely looking at areas in this location as well. So I will grab that, take that feedback back to the company.
It is. So it used to be like the Sylvan bowling alley, and it closed down, and then I think there's a CVS that's right there. But the whole thing is empty. It's perfect
Yeah,
for
gotta do
a small
something,
grocery,
right?
a small grocery store like this, especially because when I go to Sunday dinner for my sister, I always need a bottle of wine and fresh flowers.
Well, we have that
And,
here.
so if you can get both of them in one stop, that is perfect.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we definitely have a great wine selection here, and our floral department is just awesome.
What's been the biggest thing that you've gotten out of this personally, being a part of this project?
You know, I've been in this business for a long time, but this has been the most exciting project for me, truly. There's a quote that I always say is that this is a people business. We're just selling groceries on the side. And my biggest takeaway from this project has been the partnerships and the people that I have met and the team that we have developed that has sustained just an amazing culture has just been something that I'll truly never forget. And hopefully everybody here in our store team has learned from this.
I know you guys have put in a lot of hours, getting the store open, but also since it is opened in the middle of the pandemic, what's the supply chain been like for you? Has it been a struggle at times?
A year ago, when COVID really came about, March and April, we did have some opportunities from a supply chain perspective, but we were able to find innovative ways with our local community here to provide different items to make sure that we had product on our shelf. And, I'm proud to say that, even last year and today, we don't have empty shelves here. We're stocked and we're ready to go. And the assortment from a supply chain is getting better every day. It really is. And it's great to see that things are coming back to normal now.
I know in the beginning when we were having those challenges, it really opened up the consumer's eyes to the food supply chain system and where our food was coming from. Have you noticed a difference in how people are shopping now?
Well, yes. I think the biggest takeaway I've noticed is the digital. More shoppers are coming using Instacart and Shipt, what we offer today, and also DoorDash very soon. And that we were able to provide that digital business so the customers can have our groceries delivered to their home. So that was number one. And then from a freshness and variety perspective, really, we have the assortment that a customer can have options as it relates to vegan or organic and then conventional also.
Natalie, we so appreciate your time. Anything maybe we didn't touch on that you want to share with our listeners and viewers before we say goodbye?
No, really just overall, Woodward Corner Market has just been an amazing opportunity for myself and my team and the company. And if you haven't had an opportunity to visit us, please do so, because we are a great neighborhood market that is ready to serve our guests.
I will say I will go out of my way to stop by your market versus some of the other big box ones here locally.
Great.
It's such a nice atmosphere, and you go in and you leave with a nice feeling. So thank you for all you're doing, but also thank you for supporting so many of our local businesses throughout this time as well.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much, and thank you for your time.
If you have not been in there, please stop by. It's right at the corner of Woodward and 13 Mile. You really can't miss it. It's that whole new block that they've redone, and it is a great place to go shop. But also, I'm excited for the summertime, Tyler, because they do have so many great restaurants there as well. So you can go out to dinner, go do your grocery shopping, and also try to find some of these local sourced businesses. It really is amazing to see. People are really creative with what they're making now.
Yeah, a lot more of these local businesses popping up, and it's areas like that allow that to happen, and having support of businesses that have some greater support behind them as well certainly helps as we try to support our local businesses and entrepreneurs as we come out of this pandemic, considering that they have struggled so much throughout the pandemic but persevered to still provide services.
We're going to take a quick break here on the Megacast. When we come back, we'll have the owner for Canterbury Village with us. This is the Oakland County Megacast.
Wearing a mask is more than protection. It's a bridge to better days. The path back to celebrations with family. Nights out on the town with friends. Game days with your favorite sports teams. And the thrill of live concerts. But until we can all get the COVID-19 vaccine and build community immunity, which will take time, we all need to continue to stay careful because Michigan's recovery is depending on you, and so are your family, friends, and neighbors. So even after you're vaccinated, wear a mask, avoid large gatherings, and social distance. One day in the near future, we will all be able to put this pandemic behind us. But until then, spread hope, not COVID. Learn more at michigan.gov/coronavirus. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. COVID-19 has caused many families to fall behind on finances and on groceries, but you're not alone. You shouldn't have to worry about putting food on the table. My Bridges offers access to quality food and income assistance to help families across the state get the food support they need. It's easy to apply and easy to start shopping. Apply for services at michigan.gov/MIBridges. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Great to have you with us on the Friday edition of the Megacast. We made it to Friday.
Yes, we did. Congratulations, everybody. We've made it to Friday.
I really wish that we only did 4-day work weeks. Whoever came up with the 5-day work week, what were they thinking?
An imbecile. That's who did. Yes.
I will say at one time station I worked at, we did 4 days, 4 10-hour days, because then the station could save on overtime. And the days could be long, but it was so much nicer to have 3 days off in a row. Like you felt like you really got to accomplish some things.
Yeah, it's a marginal difference in the length of your day for having that extra full day to decompress also. Because these 2-day weekends, they go by so quickly that by the time that you are getting back, you're still not quite at that point of feeling refreshed, usually.
Well, usually Saturday is spent running errands, going shopping, things of that nature, and then Sunday you're cleaning and cooking and getting ready for the week.
Exactly.
But I will say one place I like to go on Saturdays, Canterbury Village out in Lake Orion. They are so creative, but I'm a bit of a shopper, and I like different experiences. I do not like going to the mall, the big box stores, especially for some reason now throughout the pandemic. I feel like you get more of a flavoring and a feel of a community when you go to some of these specialized places. Let's go ahead and bring in Keith Aldridge. He's the owner of Canterbury Village. You guys are really creative in some of the events that you come up with.
Good morning. Yes, we're trying to be, because obviously with competition and the way the web is going as a retail outlet, you have to be very creative.
And you guys are also like to tease people, because I bought tickets for the Christmas event, and so now I get emails on a pretty regular basis about everything that's going on out there. So it really does like entice you and draws you back in.
Our marketing team does a fantastic job, and as you say, our holiday stroll went very well, and now we're coming into our dinosaur stroll, which is going to be at the end of May, which is really going very, very well, and it's going to be very interesting to turn Canterbury Village into a Jurassic type park.
Well, if your Halloween explosion is any indication as to what you guys have going on, it's going to be amazing, because Halloween, that was one of the most fun things I had in so long.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That was our second one doing it. We did it in 2019 as kind of a small thing, and then 2020 it really grew. We added a ton of props, and then 2021 it's even going to be better. And just getting into the event business, I'm really looking forward to how Canterbury is evolving, and it's been a lot of fun.
So how much of this evolution has been because of the pandemic?
Well, quite a bit actually, but I've been thinking about this since 2014 about turning Canterbury Village into an event center, and I finally bought the property from my father last year. But obviously with the event, with the COVID last year, it was funny. We've been known for our food events, and obviously the health department and the governor, we couldn't do them for various reasons. And we started doing these open air markets. And as you said, lots of local flavor, lots of variety. And that really took off last summer for us. And so with that, our shopping and our outdoor shopping, what we call our open air markets, have really exploded because of the pandemic, and they've been great. and we've already done a few this spring. The weather was fantastic last weekend, so we had our spring Michigan market outside, and really, really strong turnouts for our vendors.
So when we see like the spike in the number of COVID cases like we're going through right now, does that impact your business, or do you think it brings more people out because they're more comfortable with being outdoors?
I think you're correct. I think more people come out because they're more comfortable being outdoors, where they can get away from people, and it's not super crowded. We have a 21-acre campus here at Canterbury. So I think the outdoor element of our village, our shopping village, has really helped us tremendously.
We're talking with Keith Aldridge. He's the owner of Canterbury Village. You guys have another fun event coming up for Easter?
Oh, yes, we have our egg drop, which is going to be a little crazy, I think. The one good thing is obviously we limited tickets each session. There's only limited tickets and they're all sold out already. And it's going to be a great thing for our community. We have 10 egg drop sessions, if you can believe it. And it's free. The only thing we ask for is we're teaming up with Woodside Bible Church, which is a big church on our campus. And they're opening a new food pantry. And a few weeks ago, you guys helped us talk about the Lucky Leprechaun. I don't know how many boxes of food we raised, but a tremendous amount. Actually, at the end of the evening, Woodside said, please, Keith, no more. We can't keep up with the boxes. And I think egg drop is going to be twice as big. So I told Woodside they better stock up. So, you know, Canterbury's having success, which is great. But the things that me and my wife and our team are doing for the community, I feel super proud about.
Oh, and that's such a good thing because, you know, this is a great way for families to be able to get outdoors, enjoy themselves and their family members, but yet also support the community in which we live as well. So it really is a win-win situation for everyone.
It is. And Woodside has been a great a partner of ours since they've been on the campus in 2014. And they just do a nice job, and they do so much for the community out here. I'm just happy to be a part of it. And this food bank thing is really going to take off in a short amount of time. So I'm super pumped about it.
That's great because we know the need for food is even greater than it has been in years past. And we're also seeing it, so many other families and communities that maybe once before they were the ones donating are now the ones in need. And hopefully the one thing that comes out of this pandemic is that people don't have too much pride to ask for help because help is out there and people want to help during this time as well. Hey, Keith, I have like kind of you should do one of these adult Easter egg drops though.
Just kind of for the kids. I'm kind of a kid type of guy, so it's just for the kids.
But as adults need to get away from their kids.
I trust me. I know my children have been homeschooled or doing the online school with mom all day, and you get home at night and moms are a little stressed out, needless to say. So I do feel for all the moms out there. And dads. Like a lot of dads are working from home too.
Yeah, it's a stressful time for them as well. And one of the things, because I'm on your website and I'm looking, it seems like you guys pretty much have your year planned out for some of these events. How has that been to try to do that planning though, because we are still in the middle of COVID? Or are you anticipating as more and more people get vaccinated, we're going to be able to get back to life where we once knew it, so you're able to plan this far out?
Well, correct. I think the vaccinations are going to work. Well, I hope so, knock on wood. And, I think as we loosen things up, I think we're going to have a spike because people have been away from each other. So we kind of need that herd vaccination type thing. I'm not an expert. Please don't hold me to that. But I think the vaccinations are going to work. And they're pumping them out. I think they're doing a great job doing it. All the frontline workers are doing a great job. And I think, you see Tiger Stadium, Comerica Park, you got 8,000 people for opening day. So that's what we can do, outside at Canterbury on some of our food events. So right now, we're kind of planning on doing our open air markets, our food events outside, and our strolls. And if something happens, then we'll just have to change like we did last year. And I'm not afraid to change something up and create a new idea or go a different direction.
So what do you think has been the long-term benefit that you experienced through the past year that you'll carry forward?
Well, I think fortunately or unfortunately, I think the pandemic helped us with, getting out to the community that there's fun things to do outside at Canterbury Village, and they're not a Christmas destination anymore. And I think it happened very quickly because I feel a lot of families were looking for things to do. Going to the mall was risky. You can't go to any sporting events. The sporting events are shut down. So what do? You go outside and have fun. And I think people were looking for a fun thing to do. And I think our team, we capitalized on that, but I thought we did a very good job giving a quality product to our local community. And I think it really helped us grow rather quickly. And you can see it. And you can see it with our dinosaur stroll tickets on sale. They're very strong already. We're still 55 days out. And if you told me that we had this many tickets sold 55 days out, I'd tell you you're crazy, but it's reality.
I would really recommend anyone that is interested in trying to find out about some of these events to sign up to get the email blast, because the tickets go so quickly. With that, when it comes to some of these events like the Dino Stroll, where do you get these dinosaurs? It's not like they're just stashed in a corner somewhere.
No, you don't go down to the local store and pick these things up. So there's some very creative companies around the world. And the company that we're dealing with right now is actually building new dinosaurs for the Jurassic new movie coming out. So they're actually getting ready to ship to the movie studio. I don't know where, obviously, but speaking with the gentleman, so that tells you the quality of these dinosaurs. They're super high end. We got one in for Lucky Leprechaun Day, so obviously we had a lot of kids out there, and we were walking around. And whoops, did you guys see that? Sorry.
Nope, you're good. You're good.
Oh, okay. I am not sure what's going on here.
We see you perfectly fine on our end. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I got
okay.
some kind of software update, so I apologize. Live TV, isn't it great?
Right, exactly. Trust us, a year into this, we've experienced pretty much it all.
Yes. So we had the dinosaur out on that particular Saturday 2 weekends ago, and it's really cool. It's one of our costumes. It growls, it moves, it looks like a real dinosaur. There's a human body in there standing up, or a human in there standing up. And the response from the children and even adults was crazy. I mean, literally crazy. And it was like the Beatles had landed at Canterbury, and it was good stuff.
That is so cool. How has it been enabled? I know that what it looks like in June, you're going to have the medieval fair. You also have a big food truck rally that will be happening in the summer as well. Mm-hmm. When it comes to trying to book the people for these events, what's that side of the house been like? That are more and more people available because they're ready to come out of the pandemic because they weren't able to participate in some of these things last year?
Yeah, to a certain point. Obviously, we've teamed up with some people that have been in this business, the event business, for a long time. Halloween, you said the medieval, we have a very good connection with that community. And so they're all excited to do stuff because obviously some of the big events last year got shut down. So yes, our acting staff is very strong. And I think that's what kind of differentiates us between these other venues is we do, with our strolls, we have live characters, and the kids and the moms and the dads really seem to like that.
How worried are you about the weather? Because this is Michigan.
It is Michigan. I've been doing this a long time. Rain or shine, come out, a little drizzle doesn't hurt. Obviously, if it's a downpour, which we don't get too many of those, but some drizzle last year, even during our Halloween stroll, people were out, they were happy. So it is what it is. We're tougher. We're tough people. We're Detroiters.
Well, let's hope that it doesn't snow for the Easter special, because we've had snow in April before.
Well, we did the helicopter drop 2 years ago for the first time ever, and it was a downpour all day. And we still had like 2,000 kids out there. They were soaking wet, playing in the mud, having a ball, and I'm sitting there laughing, watching the whole thing go, I can't believe if we didn't have rain, there'd be like 10,000 people out here today.
Oh my goodness.
So, you know, the kids don't care. They don't, you know, whatever. They get, you know, clean up, throw them in the shower. They get cleaned up. I went through it with my little guys, so they all scrub up.
Yeah, what is the big event they always have it once a year in Detroit? The big mud pit where all the kids go and they play in the mud at the park. I've had to cover that one a couple times. Keith Aldridge with us. He's the owner of Canterbury Village. Keith, it's always great having you with us. You said all of the tickets are sold out for the Easter event, but how can people still support the food bank if they want to?
Anytime, and it's been great. People have been dropping off food the last couple of weeks at our Michigan market, just coming up knowing that we're a part of this adventure with the Woodside Bible Church and the food pantry. And they've been dropping food off all week. So it's been great. So anybody that wants to come to Canterbury, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be an event. Please bring some canned goods out. We'll get them to the food pantry, and it's going to be a great thing for our community, as I said.
Well, thank you for caring and giving back as well. Before we say goodbye, if someone hasn't been there, give us a location and also where they can find out more information about some of the events that you have coming on.
Yep. So we're located in the beautiful community of Lake Orion, which I'm a resident of and been here for a long, long time. Love Lake Orion. You just take I-75 north to Joslin exit, 2 miles north of the Great Lakes Crossing Center outlet. You can't miss it. It looks like a giant castle-looking village, and it's a lot of fun out here. And then obviously you can go to Canterbury Village and go to our MichiganEvents.com, and you can see all the events listed there. All the tiles are there with information, vendor space, availability, ticket space, hours and times, all that good stuff.
And if you are interested in an event, get your tickets early because they sell out fast. Keith, always great having you with us. We want to say thank you for your time.
Oh, thanks for having us. Have a great weekend, and let's get some warmer weather around here, right?
Oh, that'd be nice. And our fingers are crossed that you have beautiful weather on the 3rd of April.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
We're going to take a quick break here on the Megacast, and when we come back, just about 20 minutes left in the show, we'll be speaking with the Detroit Theater Collective. This is the Oakland County Megacast.
Over a decade ago, the journey to a COVID vaccine began. Building upon research on other coronaviruses, scientists continued with months of research and development, 3 phases of clinical trials with tens of thousands of diverse volunteers, then peer review and authorization to deliver a safe and effective vaccine that will protect all of us. Discover the facts for yourself at michigan.gov/COVID vaccine.
Hi, my name is Kurt Lawson, and I'm the Public Information Officer for West Bloomfield Township. We wanted to reach out to you, our older adults, to provide information that you may find useful during this difficult time. We want to ensure you that West Bloomfield Town Hall, our Waters and Utility Department, West Bloomfield Parks, and our police and fire departments continue to work hard on your behalf. Information and resources can be found on the Township website, the police Facebook and Twitter, or call West Bloomfield Park's COVID-19 Help Hotline. Please remember to keep your social distance of at least 6 feet, wear facial coverings when you leave your home, and wash your hands for at least 20 seconds with soap. These precautions will help keep you safe during these difficult times.
Welcome back to the Friday edition of the Megacast. Great to have you with us. We've had a great lineup all week long.
Yeah, it has. It's been a really nice week. A lot of interesting guests on the show throughout this week, and we're having a good show on Friday to finish it all off, too.
Well, our next guest to join us, so many people miss the theater because there are some things that you can put it online, but it's just not the same. And going to the theater is one of those. But people are trying to get very creative throughout the pandemic. With us now, let's go ahead and bring in Chris Berryman. He's with the Detroit Theater and Collective. Thank you, Chris, for being with us.
Thank you for having me, Ronnie.
So tell us about the past year. Challenging, to say the least, right?
Sure thing, yes. Very challenging, but interesting. So it was March 2020, and Detroit Theater Collective, we're sort of a pop-up theater company, and we find places to perform our shows. And we were in the middle of the Midwest premiere of the production of a play called Anything, which was directed by my colleague T.M. Rollins. And we were really excited because the last weekend was almost completely sold out. And we were so excited to bring this work that we had been laboring on for more than a year to a bigger audience. But then COVID really hit, and all the warnings were coming out of the media, and we had to have a little powwow. And like a lot of arts groups around the world, we had to shut down the show. And we also had to shut down operations for the indefinite future. So it was devastating for everyone, I think, but it was, I have to say that it just felt like somebody just pulled the floor out from under us. And I know a lot of people experienced the same thing.
And with that, this has also been a year of change and opportunity. How did you use that time to grow as an actor and as an author as well?
Yes. Well, it's interesting how it came about. So basically, that I was just quarantined in my house in Detroit, watching the bleak news, and not really sure what was going to happen in the future. Zooming with friends, having cocktails on Zoom here and there. But I started. This is going to sound a little woo-woo, but it's really not. And I started having some interesting dreams, and they had these, sort of strange pictures in them, some interesting voices and messages, and it kept happening. So I decided to write it down. A friend of mine encouraged me to record it, and looking at these materials, I just thought, well, what can I do with this? So somehow the idea to make a kid's book came into being, and that's how the book Flying Saucer Visions was born. But indeed, because my background is theater and film, it did feel like I was producing a film, page by page, of this work. So it definitely kept me busy and revealed new things to me during this pandemic. Otherwise, we have been developing works with the collective and reading plays on Zoom. And I'm not a big fan of the podcast theater. I think it's interesting, but to me, it's more like a broadcast. Like theater to me is a live event, and that's fine. It definitely has a place, but just for me, I'm more focused on the future and when we can make theater again. So we've got some interesting stuff in development.
So with that, because you are not performing in person right now, correct?
Correct, and we won't until it's safe to do so.
When do you anticipate? Is that when you and your staff members are able to get vaccinated in April?
A lot of us I'm vaccinated already. A lot of us are getting vaccinated. I think we're just going to have to see month by month. And we have hopes we have 2 works in development. So we're hoping that we can do something before the end of the year. But if not, we can just put it off till next year. We'll just have to see, I think.
So when you say you have works in development, what is that like in the middle of COVID? Are you doing this over Zoom, or are you guys still getting together in small groups?
Well, we have gotten together on Zoom, and we've gotten together in my backyard when it was warm enough to do so, to sort of plot things out. And we share. It's amazing what you can do over the phone as well. We share, drawings and ideas and have conversations. So we have an outdoor musical planned that could be maybe done in backyards, and it's based on the Book of Enoch. And then there's another play that we have in development that will probably need a theater. So we're going to have to wait and see. That's a play called Mud, and we'll have to wait and see where we can actually gather in a more traditional theater setting for that one.
We're talking with Chris Berryman. He is an actor and an author with the Detroit Theater Collective. As we continue to go on, when it comes to practicing, and because so much of it is feeding off of another person's energy, how have you had to adapt that throughout the COVID crisis?
That's a really good point, because that is the missing element, the live, this person-to-person communication and creativity. But the Zoom, this technology is interesting how what it can capture, and you can feel connected on some level, it seems. I don't think it's quite the same thing, but thank God that we have it, because it has allowed some sort of connection and some sort of way to socialize and create. But I'm just really excited because, getting together outdoors person to person is starting to happen again. And that is really making the creative juices flow once again.
So typically, are your plays like just a few people, or are they larger productions?
They are usually smaller ensemble pieces, and there's usually some sort of text involved. Some of them are older plays. We've done plays by Strindberg and Maeterlinck, stuff going back to the 1800s. But there's usually not always, but there's often an element of other media, of film and video or puppetry or movement involved in our production. So I like to sort of make a collage, so to speak, of work.
So often art imitates the history and life around it. How do you think you'll implement some of the things that we've gone through as a society through this pandemic into some of your productions?
Well, that's interesting. That play that Mud that I spoke about originally took place sort of in the Dust Bowl, but I think we're going to set it in a future dystopia where there might be a virus at hand and the characters are suffering for a different set of reasons. We'll see. One of the great things I do think, in a lot of obviously really horrible things that come out from this pandemic, but one of the great things I think that going inside and going within has allowed people to do is to sort of readdress things about their lives and look at the world differently. Like, what can we do to change things, to make things better, to live more fully? So I think that's a silver lining to this time period.
Chris Berryman with us here on the Megacast. And with that, Chris, some people have gone virtual. Have you done any virtual plays and posted them for people just to kind of keep that, keep the collaboration flowing?
We have not done that. We have posted video of past work and I called it a video stream of past work that we had filmed. I would do that if something happens that this were to continue, and I have some ideas about how that could work. The thing about Zoom is that it craps out so frequently, and I don't like that. I like to be in total control. I want everything to be a certain way. So that makes me nervous, but I certainly would. And there's a lot of creative possibilities that come to mind how you could use Zoom and have sort of a more interactive experience with an audience. Some theater companies are doing this, and I applaud them for doing that.
Yeah, so have you been able to watch some of their performances?
I have been able to watch some of them. And what was it? It was from Boston, and they were doing sort of an interactive, like you were inside the characters. Was it the Three Sisters? You were like following them through their house and everything. It was truly amazing. But I think the bummer was that my Zoom crapped out, so I couldn't continue to watch it. But whoever put it together was a very creative mind, and it was exciting. I think some of this will continue. Some of this Zoom virtual interactive theater will definitely continue in the future as well. So it's a new medium for us.
So with that, Chris, if I can ask you, are any of the theaters reopened for live performances in the area just yet?
I have not seen any reopened in the area. There could be some that I don't know about, but it seems to me that the consensus is to keep things real safe. Now, I'll bet this summer with outdoor theater, there will be productions opening up and happening, such as the Shakespeare that they always do in Royal Oak. I don't know if that's happening, but I think things like that will definitely happen. And I look forward to attending some of that stuff. I'm hoping that we can have an outdoor theater maybe by the end of the summer or the early fall.
So with that, when it comes to performances, it does take a lot of practice behind the scenes before you can stand in front of that crowd.
Oh yeah.
So what would that timeline look like? Wouldn't you really need to start practicing about now?
Well, you definitely would, and some of that you can do on Zoom. But when push comes to shove, I think that you would have to be with other actors, with masks, maybe in somebody's yard or a park or something. And I think that some companies are practicing indoors again, but just in a very distanced way, which I think that takes a lot of management to make that happen in a safe way.
So with that too, we're looking at the profession overall. Do you think that, someone pointed out, well, after the Spanish flu in 1918, we had the Roaring 20s and everyone was, partying and living life. So do you anticipate that when we get on the backside of this, we're going to see, a big push for people to get back to enjoy live music, to enjoy live events at the theater and plays, things of that nature?
Oh yeah, I think it's going to explode actually, and bars and restaurants. I mean, we're going to have to be careful, I think, to remain because we don't know about exactly everything about the virus, how it mutates and everything. But I think there will be a renaissance of the arts in different ways because people will be so excited, like you said about the Roaring 20s. Everyone was so excited, after the Spanish flu and World War I to party together again, to recreate together again, and that will be wonderful, and I look forward to it.
Oh, so many people looking forward to that. We're speaking with Chris Berryman, Detroit Theater Collective. He is an actor as well as an author. Tell us more about your children's book. Is it finished right now?
It is finished and it is available. Yes. It is, obviously we talked about how it came about during the pandemic when I was cooped up. It is a children's science fiction story geared for 9 to 12-year-olds, but I think adults would enjoy it as well. And it's the story about two worlds coming together through the eyes of a gifted young loner, a boy named Christian Foster Leon, and who befriends a group of extraterrestrial rebels, and how their friendship develops and what happens next as far as their adventures together.
Is it your first book?
It is. It is.
So what was it like to not only write it, but illustrations and getting it published? Did you self-publish?
I did self-publish through a team-driven self-publishing company in Canada called Tellwell, and which basically means they helped me develop this thing, and even though I was making the choices, they hooked me up with a wonderful illustrator named Shengmei Li, and she brought this book to life. Really inspired me the way she made these sort of anime-inspired illustrations, and it was sort of magical how it all came together.
See, look at that. That's one of the great things that came out of the pandemic for you.
Yes, absolutely. No doubt about it.
Is this something that you think you'll continue to explore?
Yes.
As you go
yes,
on?
I think I will. Not only with writing in general, publishing in general, but I'd also like to continue this story of Flying Saucer Visions in another form, just to keep the story going as far as another book in the future.
Chris Berryman with us here on the Megacast. He's with the Detroit Theater Collective. And with that, Chris, just another minute or two before we say goodbye for the day. Anything we didn't ask or touch on that you want the population to know?
No, this was so wonderful that you were willing to talk to me. And one thing that we have touched on it, but it's just one thing that I just have to say that this horrible virus and this horrible pandemic offered me was going within and just finding ways to dig a little deeper for creative ways to live, and I'm still discovering and still finding new things. But it's I think we're on the verge of something good, even though there's a lot of gloom and doom in the news. I'm inspired by the future, and I think there's going to be some interesting things happening.
Well, let's hope so. Brighter days are ahead for us. So with that, Chris, what do you think the overall impact's going to be for the theater industry as a whole? Has this forced people to shy away from the industry and find other ways to support themselves financially?
I'm sure that it has forced people to find other ways to support themselves. I hear in New York City the theater might be opening up in May or June. I don't know if that's changed. Again, I think we're just going to have to take this month by month and see what happens. But I'm hoping that we'll, like you said, I hope we have another roaring 20s upon us.
Oh.
I think that would be great.
Well, if people want to follow along, because we do forget that there are other entities that still are not open, and that has to do with, so many of our live performances and our live venues as well. So, Chris, if people want to find out more, where can they do so?
Well, as far as our collective goes, you can go to www.detroit-collective.com. And I think you can just Google search theater in Michigan as well, and companies will come up. There's a lot of good theater in the Metro Detroit area, and so I'm excited that we're going to have a chance to gather again and experience this communal theater experience once again.
Oh, that we're all looking forward to that. And I will say, I don't think we're going to take live performances for granted for quite some time.
Excellent. How exciting.
Chris, we appreciate your time. Chris Berryman with us here on the Megacast. He's an author. He's an actor. The Detroit Theater Collective, if you want to find out more information. We're going to take a quick break here on the Megacast.
The only way to beat COVID-19 is to face it.
You can't get too comfortable.
You can't forget the danger.
Wear the mask.
Wear the mask.
Wear the mask. Wash your hands.
Keep a safe distance.
Especially in the next few months.
You know we'll get back to normal.
We'll get back to normal. We'll get back to normal.
Someday. But not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But not yet.
But not yet.
Consider virtual gatherings for the holidays.
Curbside food orders.
Grocery delivery.
And shopping local.
Shop local.
And especially shopping local.
Let's beat this virus. We can if we face it together.
Together.
Together. Together.
Together.
Together.
Together.
Together. Together.
Together. Together. For the latest information, visit oakgov.com/COVID.
What a week it's been, Tyler.
Yes, it has been quite an eventful week. A lot of great and interesting guests on our program this week as we've wrapped up the second to last week of March.
A lot of people continue to ask me exactly what is the Megacast, and the great thing about this show is, again, we're able to bring people long-form interviews with so many interesting individuals, newsmakers, and our leaders, so that you can stay informed, because we are still navigating COVID-19 and this crisis. But with that, we're lucky to be able to bring you this show. And we're wishing all of you stay safe, stay healthy over this past weekend. Vaccinations are coming. We will get through this once and for all together. This has been the Oakland County Megacast.